Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is take 2 of this video because the first half, the file got corrupted. Yay. But in this video, we're going to be talking about all of the series that I'm in the middle of. And we're going to be going through them and talking about whether I will be continuing the series, how many books are in the series, and just other little thoughts and notes on each of the books. So if you would be interested to see all of the series that I'm in the middle of, and shocking, it is more than I expected, then go ahead and keep watching. So I have this video broken out by genre. The first part that we're going to be talking about is fantasy. Let's caveat this really quick though. I have a total of 37 series that I am in the middle of. I did not expect that. I thought maybe 20. Did not think it was going to be into the 30s and even a high 30. Did not think that was going to be happening, so that was shocking. But I have the books broken out by genre. The first genre we are going to be talking about is fantasy. And with fantasy, I have it split up, or I should say, I do not have it split up by young adult fantasy, or anything like that. It's just fantasy as a whole, just to make it easier on me. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Please try again.
Shut up. Shut up. Why are you talking to me? So we have a total of 9 fantasy series that we are in the middle of. That I expected, just because fantasies are typically a lot of books are series in the fantasy genre. So that I fully expected. But we have a total of 9 and we're going to talk about them. So the first series that I'm in the middle of is a book I just started this month in January, and that is Serpents and Wings of Night, and that is the Crown of Nyxia series. It is a duology. So this is book 1. I will be continuing into book 2 shortly. I did enjoy it. This is like a vampire Hunger Games situation. So I love Hunger Games and I love vampires. So it was actually a very enjoyable book. I think I ended up giving this like 4.25 or so. It was over 4 stars. I just don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was either 4.25 or 4.5 stars. It was really good. I will continue. I can't wait to see how this story wraps up. The next book I also read in January, and that's ACOTAR. This is definitely going to be read in 2024. I will be reading one of the books in the series every single month. So by the end of May, I will be finishing it because there is 5 books in the series. I will continue it. I cannot wait to see what happens. I finally want to be in the know on Feyre and Lucian and Cassian and Rhysand. I want to know these characters so I can understand the reels and the TikToks and the memes and all of that about ACOTAR, because I don't know and I want to. So this will be read, will be finished before summer of 2024. The next book is Powerless. I just read this in, I think, November of 2023. This is, I think, a duology. The second book is going to be...
Wrong. Please try again.
Why are you talking to me? My phone keeps talking to me. So this is a series. Oh, I think you don't like that word. So this is a part of a duology, I think. The next book is going to be coming out in 2024 at some point. I don't remember when. I do have it on my list of books coming out like in the calendar. So I will be picking that up. I think actually I have it reserved. I think I already did a pre-order actually on this book. I think the next one is Reckless, and it's coming out in 2024. This will be read. It will be finished. If it's a duology, it will be finished this year. And if it's not a duology, it will be finished as soon as all the books come out. So. And then we have the next book is The Letters of Enchantment, also known as Divine Rivals. My dog came barging in. I read this at the end of 2023. I do have an Owl Crate edition that I'm waiting to be delivered of the second book. This is a duology. So the Reckless Vows will be delivered sometime the end of February into March, and it will be finished as soon as I get it. So this will be finished in 2024 as well. Then we have Fourth Wing. This is also called Empyrean, is the name of the series, I guess. But I have Fourth Wing, I have Iron Flame, and I will be finishing this as soon as all the books come out. I will be pre-ordering every single book as it is released, and this will be finished as soon as all of the books come out. So this I knew I was going to be in the middle of, and hopefully I think it's going to be a 5-book series, so this is going to take several years, but I will be finishing this as soon as the books come out. And then we have, this is a book, this is a series I do not know if I'm going to continue, and that is Lord of the Rings. This is The Hobbit. This is technically, I think, series book 0, because this is kind of the prequel into Lord of the Rings. But I did read this at the end of 2023, and I possibly might start and finish the series, the Lord of the Rings series. This was not a book I super enjoyed, but I also don't know a lot about the Lord of the Rings world. I watched all of the movies once when they were released, and that's pretty much all that I know. So I might, if I find the Lord of the Rings books used, I might continue the series, but it's not something that's on my radar. It's not something I'm really hoping to get anytime soon, but if I do happen to find them used, I might go ahead and pick them up so I can try to finish or start the official Lord of the Rings series, since I've already read The Hobbit. Then we have Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series. This is Eye of the World. This is book 1. This has a 14-book series, and I will not be continuing it. So I didn't care for the book. Honestly, it kind of bored me a little bit. I wasn't really excited about this book. It also is, and you're going to see in multiple videos coming up soon, I do not like mass market paperbacks. This is shorter, narrower, and over 800 pages. And so that just leads to me not being comfortable holding and reading this book. So I think that might have also been the issue, is it's long, it's not a comfortable read because of the mass market paperback feel and size, but it's not something I was really excited about. I'm probably not going to finish it. And then we have Red Rising. This one is book 1. There's technically 6 books, I think, in the series, but this was, I think, originally only supposed to be a trilogy. I do plan on wanting to finish the trilogy. I'm waiting to find the book 2 and book 3 used, and if I can find them used, then I will finish it. But I do want to try to continue the series. This one was, I had a hard time reading this halfway through it. So the first half I got through really easily, but then as soon as I got to the actual trials or so, it lost me in places. I wasn't following what was happening, but I did kind of enjoy it. I do want to continue it just to see how it goes, and I might end up enjoying this book more once I get back into the world and kind of understand what's happening better. But this is going to be something I will like to continue if I can find the books used, but if not, then I'll just wait. I'm not in a rush. And then the last fantasy book is The House by the Cerulean Sea. I didn't even realize this was a series. I think they just recently came out with the second book, and I would like to see what happens in that series. So I think the second book is them going back to the house and meeting back up with all of the kids and seeing kind of where they're all at as the time has progressed. I think I really don't know anything about that book, so I don't know the storyline, but I would like to continue that book because I really did enjoy The House by the Cerulean Sea. I had never read a TJ Klune book before, and I really did enjoy it. So that's going to finish the fantasy, and we have 2 books in fiction that both of them are kind of a probably not going to continue situation. So the first one is One for the Money by Janet Ivanovich. I just unhauled this book. That series has, right now, I think 30 books in the series. So that is a lot of books. I don't want to read that many. I wasn't super interested in the storyline to begin with, but I really don't think I'm going to be interested in it for 30 books. But I will say that book did get me back into reading because I think I read that book back in like 2019 or so. And that was before I really started my reading all over again and really getting back into reading. So I will say that book was entertaining enough that it prompted me to want to read more. So I do like that. But it just wasn't anything that I was super excited about, and I didn't really care to pick it up any other books. So that's why I unhauled it. And then the last fiction book, and this I have it, no, I'm not going to continue, but I have been intrigued. I have stopped several times looking at this series, not quite knowing if I want to buy them or not. And that is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I read this, I think, back in 2020, shortly after I read One for the Money. And it was a good book, but one, I didn't realize this was part of a series for some reason. I just didn't realize that. And two, I liked the storyline, like the mystery and, kind of a what happened type like storyline that went on in this book. But I don't think I'm going to like it enough to continue the series. There's technically 7 books in the series, and I have seen the second book. I think what it is the second book is orange, I want to say. So the color stands out, and that's what draws my eye. But it's never been enough that I've decided I want to buy it. So this is probably not going to be continued, but it might I might end up buying the second one. I just haven't yet, but I have looked at it several times. So those are the 2 fiction books. So the next book I want to talk about is a middle grade. And the middle grade book that I am in the middle of is A School for Good and Evil. I have read the first 2 books. This is the first book. I also have read The World Without Princes. That one I did not like as much as the first one, and that was only because the second book was basically just a male bashing book. And I didn't hate it, but I got tired of reading like that type of story. But I am interested to see what's going to happen in the third book because the second book ended, and I will say this author does a very good job of ending the book and making you want to read the next one because of what happens at the end of the second book. I'm super interested to see what's going to happen. I'm really curious to find out what goes on with the girls and the prince in this book, or in the third book. So, but this technically it has 6 books, I think. 7 books. 6 books? 6 books. So, but I think books 4, 5, and 6 are a different subcategory, maybe? Or storyline, like a different storyline. I'm not sure, but regardless, I will be finishing this. I just have to find the next books used. And then the last book I want to talk about is a mystery book. And I did not realize this was a series. Typically mystery books, the ones that I read aren't series. But the book that I have read that is a mystery that I did not know was part of a series was The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I will say, after I read Housemaid, I did realize shortly afterwards that there is a second book to that one, but apparently there's also a third. I had no idea, but I'm not really a Frida McFadden fan. They are very bingeable books, so if you want a mystery that you just want to be able to sit down and just go in at, those are definitely books that you could just sit and read and all in one sitting. But I'm not a super fan of Frida McFadden. I think I've rated her books like 4 stars and 3.5 stars. They're not super good to me, but they're not like bad. They're just kind of the middle of the road type books. So I'm not going to be finishing the series. I don't really see me wanting to go back to The Housemaid book 2, but yeah, that's going to be something I was not anticipating being a series. So, and with that, we are now going to jump to Past Me, because this clip I had to redo at editing because I did not know the clip was corrupted. I got notified that the original part of the video was corrupted, and to recover it, But apparently my recovery didn't work. So we are going to jump to Past Me, and we're going to talk about all of the other books that I have on my series list. Alright, new battery acquired, but then I got a pop-up that something might have been wrong with my SD card. So we're going to continue hoping that everything is fine from the original part, the first part of this video. And then we're going to go on to romance, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 romance books. So we're going to go ahead and talk about those, and a lot of these I will be continuing because usually romance series I tend to enjoy. The first one that I have is going to be the Lakefront Billionaires series. This is another book I just read in January. This book is book 1 of the Lakefront Billionaires series. And from looking, it looks like there is 2 books. But realistically, after reading this book, I think there could be up to 3. Because this book follows Julian. And then in the storyline, you have Julian's like brother, kind of. It's like his friend that basically kind of got adopted into the family. So it's kind of his brother is what they call him. But his brother has the storyline. I think he's going to be the next book. But there's also another like real estate developer in the story that I think could have his own book as well. So right now I think there's only 2, but there could be 3. But regardless, I will be finishing the series because I really did enjoy this. This was a very good book. I will be continuing the Lakefront Billionaires series. And then we have I did not know this was a series, but it is they're calling it Hot and Hammered series, I guess. But it is Fixer Up. I just got finished reading this in January as well. And this one is kind of a maybe or no. It depends. If I can find the next books used, I might pick them up. I ended up giving this book, I think, 3.75. It wasn't great. You'll get my reviews when I do my wrap up, or when I do my weekly vlog, you'll kind of hear my thoughts on this book. But usually I like Tessa Bailey books. I just didn't care for the ending of this one. And honestly, the other characters that were in this book, I really don't care to read about them. So if I see the book used, I might pick it up if there's a sale along with the used book price. But I don't know. This is not something that I was like, I'm going to be dying to get the next book in the series. And then the same goes for The Kiss Quotient, which I also read in January. This is part of, I don't even know what kind of, I guess it's the Kiss Quotient series. And again, the same thing as the other book I just talked about. I did not know this was in series. I don't really care to read about any of the other characters if I find the second, and because there's 3 books in the series. If I find the other books, I might read them. But again, it would have to be if I find them used and if they're a sale. So this is a no/maybe, I guess. Honestly, didn't know that this was a part of a series either. I thought this was a standalone book. The other book we have, I do not have with me. I read it on Kindle Unlimited. It is Legacy of Gods by Rena Kent. There is 5 books right now in that series. I have read all of them. The 6th book, and I think the last book, is coming out this year in the summertime, I think. That's God of War, and I will be reading it. The thing that I will say about the series is I have noticed that character traits will be the same with multiple characters. So for instance, God of Wrath is the main MMC is a psychopath. Like, he doesn't have feelings. He doesn't have happiness or sadness or understand happiness or sadness. He kind of mimics his appearance. He knows how to act happy when he should be acting happy, but he is not actually happy. Like, he has that personality. And so you have that. And then I think in the 3rd book, that MMC is the same way. Different character, same thing. So there's that. And then there's also, 2 characters that have like the same like sexual what is the word? They're both sadists, we'll say. So you have that. You're reading 2 books on kind of the same type of situation, like the sadism thing that they're into. And then Like for the FMCs, 2 characters were virgins. So then you had that storyline that happened multiple times. So there are, of the 5 books that I have read, there have been many books that follow the same not plot, but the same like character personalities. But they're still a really good book. I still enjoyed them all. I still enjoyed all of them. But that's just, if you're getting into Legacy of Gods, that is something I've noticed, but it's still something that I don't think I would turn away from reading the books, because they still were a good time while I was reading it. And then the next series is, where is it? It's called Dark Olympus series. So this is a dark romance retelling of Hades and Persephone. I do also have Electric Idol. That is book 2. This book is a 7-book series. I did like this one. I'm interested to see what the second book is like, to see if I want to continue. But this is definitely a series I would continue depending on how the second book goes. And then we have Magnolia Parks. This is another book I do not have because I read it on Kindle Unlimited. It is no longer on Kindle Unlimited, or the following books are not on Kindle Unlimited. Otherwise, I probably would have already started it. But that series has 5 books, I think. I did really enjoy it. I do want to continue it. I'm curious to see what happens with Magnolia and BJ, and then Daisy and Julian, and all the other characters. So the next book is Daisy Hates, and that follows Daisy and Julian, I believe. So I'm interested to see if I enjoy Daisy more or Magnolia more. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna like Daisy more, honestly. But we will be continuing that series, and I would like to finish it as soon as I can get a hold of those books. And then we have the Addicted series. This was a series I started in December. This series has 10 books, and I think the 10 books is including the novellas. I did go back and forth in this list of whether to include novellas or not, and I think the 10 books for the Addicted series includes novellas, but I only have this first one. I do plan on buying the rest of the series because I did enjoy it. I have been told this is now on Kindle Unlimited, so as soon as I'm able to get to these books, then I will be finishing them hopefully on Kindle Unlimited, and then I'll just go and find the physical copies as soon as I can get a used version. The next book we have is Outlander. Again, this is a mass market paperback. I do not want to read this copy. I don't know why I went and bought all of these versions. I don't know, but I have read the first book. I do have in my current possession 5. Yeah, I have a total of the first 5 books, all in mass market paperbacks, which I do not like. But this book has a total of 9 books. I do want to read them. I have also watched the TV series. I think I've watched it up to season 3, maybe. But I did enjoy the books. I do enjoy the movie or the TV series. I'm just probably needing to go back. Once I buy the full-size version, I'll probably end up being more likely to read the rest of the books rather than having this version. Then we have the Brown sisters. I have already read Get a Life Chloe Brown, Take a Hint Danny Brown, and then there's also Eve Brown. So I have read 2 of the 3 books. I will end up reading the 3rd book as soon as I can find it used. But I will say these are good books, but they're not like, I'm not dying to finish the series. If I find it, then that's great. I will read it. But this is definitely not a series that I'm like hunting for. Honestly, I forget to look for a Talia Hibbert book when I go to the bookstore. But if I happen to like glance and see the H section, I'll remember to try to find this book. But a lot of times this is not on my list of books to purchase, so I kind of forget about it. But I will be finishing it as soon as I can find the 3rd book, if I remember to find the 3rd book. But it will be read. It just, I have to remember to purchase it. And then we have, I don't have the book. It is, again, another series I didn't realize was series. This is another Tessa Bailey book, and it was the Bellinger sisters. It was from It Happened One Summer. I did read the first book. It was a good book. I did not dislike it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I didn't realize it was part of a series. It's a 2-book series, so you have the other sister that does show up in the first book, and it's another one that if I found it, I probably would read it, but I'm not hunting it to try to find it and finish the series. So it's kind of like a up in the air. I might finish it and I might not. Just kind of depends on if I can find it. Then we have the Twisted series. I have all 4 books. I still have to read Twisted Lies. This is the 4th book. This is one of the books that I wanted to read in 2024 so I can finish up the series. This is also on Kindle Unlimited. I have it downloaded on my Kindle. I just have to sit and read it. So this one I think is going to be good. This is, I think, yeah, this is Christian, who is the boss of one of the other characters. I think it was the boss of the bodyguard in the 2nd book. So it's going to be his storyline. And so I want to finish it. I will finish it. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but we will be finishing Twisted series in 2024. Then we have Knock 'Em Out. This is Things We Never Got Over. I do have all 3 books now. I read this in 2023 maybe, on Kindle Unlimited. And I did enjoy it. I did like Knox and Naomi. I will say this is a Lucy Score book. She is known for having very long books, and I think this is over 500 pages, which I did not like. Yeah, 530, 500, if including the epilogue, 552 pages. I don't really like romances that are over 500 pages just because I feel like it's too much. And that was my big gripe with this. It was too long. I thought it could be cut by at least 100 pages, but I think this series was also on my 2024 reading list where I wanted to finish the series. So that is my goal. I will finish this hopefully within the next 11 months. And then we have Mabel Hills. This is book 2. The first book is Icebreaker. I read Icebreaker, but I read it, I think it was a library version because I do not have it physically. I will be buying it physically, but I have Wildfire. I have not read it. This one has, there's a 3-book series. The 3rd book I think comes out in June. There's a lot of new series coming out this year. But I do want to finish, I want to read this book. Actually, I think I'm planning to maybe read this book in February. I'm not sure. But I will be reading this book, and then I will be reading the 3rd book as soon as it comes out this year, and I will be knocking out this series in 2024 as well. Okay, so that is all of the romance. So the next book is kind of romance, but it's categorized as sci-fi romance. And if you have seen my last couple of videos, you'll know what series I'm talking about. And that would be Ice Planet Barbarians. So I have read the first 2 books in that series. That series is 21 books long. Did not think it was that big of a series, but there are 21 books in the Ice Planet Barbarians series, which makes sense because every book follows a female character from that you are introduced to kind of at the very beginnings. So I have read 2 books so far of the series. I will be continuing it as like my TV prompt says, a book that, you know, a genre you don't normally read, or if there's I've got 2 days or so left until the next month begins, and I have like a gap of books. Like I've already read all of the books on my TBR, and the next month starts very shortly. Then I'll just kind of fill the space in with those Ice Planet Barbarian books because they are all vibes, not a lot of plot, but you're in for a good time when you're reading those books. So I will be continuing that. Never thought I would say that I was going to continue that series, but that's where we are. All right, so those are all of the romance. Now we're going to talk about the young adult, which is the last genre that we're going to be including in this video. And for the young adult, I have 10 books. So we have the first young adult series is, where's it at? There it is. The Mara Dyer series. This is a 3-book series. This is the book 1. I have already read the Unbecoming, and then the Evolution of Mara Dyer is the 2nd book. I read that one, I think, in December. I do have the 3rd book. I will plan on finishing it in 2024. It's just a book that I want to finish, but I'm not really like dying to finish that book. But it will be read. I will be finishing it, thank goodness, because I'm ready to finish up all of my series. So this will be read in 2024. Then we have Shatter Me. This I also started at the very end of last year. So this series is 6 books, not including the novellas. So I have already read Shatter Me. I do not have any novellas for this series yet. And I want to read the second one, but I don't remember if there's a novella between the first and the second one. So that's kind of why I have not continued with the series yet. I just need to figure out the novellas I need to read, so that way I can kind of read them as I'm supposed to. But I will be finishing the Shatter Me series at some point. I have all of the books. I just need to finish like the little novellas in between them. So Shatter Me. And then we have the Summer I Turned Pretty. I also have all 3 of these books. I have read the first 2. The third book I plan on reading. I just have not had a chance to. This is also a TV series. I will say that I definitely enjoy reading the books more than watching the TV series. This is a true young adult. You're following Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad, who are all like 16, 17-year-olds. And in the book, I mean, it's written as a young adult, so take it as you can or as you expect. The TV series, I can't watch. That's too much. It's too cringy. I just can't get behind watching the TV show at my age. But the books are decent. I will finish it up. This is another one where I just have one more book to go and I just need to wrap it up. So we will be finishing this. Then we have the next one is the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children. I just unhauled book 1 and book 2, so obviously I'm not going to continue that series. I did read the first book. I bought the second book with every intention of reading it, but as I thought about it and I saw the book on my bookshelf, I just did not want to read it. I did not have any desire to read that book. So we unhauled it. That is not going to be a series I'm going to continue. That's one that I don't have to worry about. So then we have the Selection series. I have read book 1 and book 2. I have those in my possession. There are a total of 5 books in this series. I have been keeping an eye out for the next book in the series. These also, I think, all are on Kindle Unlimited. So if I need to read another book, I probably will end up picking up the Kindle Unlimited version before I buy the rest of the books, because these are young adult romances. They're quick little reads. They're nothing that you have to expend a lot of brain power on. This is like a dystopian romance, sort of. But, I mean, it's good. It's decent. I will continue it. I just have to figure out when I want to read it and if I want to find it on a physical version or if I just want to read it on Kindle Unlimited. Then we have the Lunar Chronicles, which is the Cinder series. I've read Cinder. I have 4 books in the series. I believe this has 6 total books. I have also been looking for whenever I go to the bookstore, I do look in the M section for Marissa Meyer to see if there are any more of these books being sold used. And as soon as as soon as I find the other 2 books that I'm missing, then I will be buying them. But I do plan on reading more of the series. I just haven't had a chance to continue it. So this will be continued as soon as I can find time to read it. The next one we have is Renegades. This is a 3-book series. I have read Renegades. I do have Arch Enemies, and I do have Supernova. They're actually where are they? Right there? I don't know if, yeah, you can see them. I do have them. I just have to sit down and read them. This book ended shockingly, so I am excited to read the next book. I just haven't had a chance to pick it up and read it. But this will be a series I will continue and finish. And then we have One of Us is Lying. I did like this book. I actually flagged it. I didn't even realize I flagged it. But this is a trilogy. I have One of Us is Lying. I also have One of Us is Next right here. But I do not have the 3rd book. I think mostly because I didn't realize it was a 3rd book. But I will be continuing at least with the 2nd book, and then we'll go with the 3rd as soon as I can find it. The next book is Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I have read Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I have also read the Ballad of Never After, and I pre-ordered the 3rd book, which is, what is it? A Curse for True Love. And I had every intention of reading that 3rd book as soon as it got delivered. However, I saw a lot of reviews on the 3rd book that it was not as good as the 2nd. And the 2nd book ended shockingly. and I was so looking forward to the third book, but now I'm nervous to read it. And that's the only reason I have not read it. So I will be finishing it. I will be finishing it in 2024. I just have to make myself want to finish it because I'm scared to read that book because I feel like I'm going to be let down. That's it. And then the last book that I have on my list of books that I need to read, or series I'm in the middle of, is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. I read this in 2023, I think in like October, maybe the end of 2023. This is my Owl Crate edition. Nope, Fairy Loot edition. That's why it's very gold foiled. But this was I did not know at the time that I got this in Fairy Loot that it was part of a series. I thought it was a standalone. And then I shortly found out afterwards, when I picked this book up to actually start reading in 2023, that's when I found out it was not a standalone. It actually is part of a series. And this is part of a trilogy. Now, I don't know if I'm going to continue this book. So I think this is going to be if I find it used, I will buy it to continue and finish out the series. But I am not sure. Honestly, I don't even remember the characters' names. Winnie and what is her friend's name? Jay Friday and Winnie. Winnie Wednesday and Jay Friday. So I remember the story. I did not remember the characters. And I thought the book was good, but it wasn't anything that really stood out that I wanted to continue once I realized it was a series. But if I did find it, I would pick it up and finish out the trilogy and see what happens with Winnie and Jay and everything that happened with her family and her dad. So that's it. Okay, and that is all of the books that I'm in the middle of. Let me see how many of these books I'm literally one book away from finishing. Let me see. Let's count. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's a total of 11 books that I could finish if I decided I wanted to. So, like I said, I did not expect to be in the middle of 37 series. And that's also not including some of the other series that I know I probably have read back in before 2019 that I just didn't capture on Goodreads. So I'm sure that's even higher, but that's what we're going with now. I would like to knock some of these out, and I know there are some of them on here that I will be knocking out in 2024. Keep an eye out. There might be a video of me finishing out some of these series, so we might do that. We might do a vlog on that. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. If you like books, let's become friends. Hit subscribe. Yes, I would appreciate it. And if you have not, I hope you subscribe soon. Keep checking me out, and maybe you'll subscribe in a little bit. Crossing fingers. Love ya. And so that's going to be it for this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.